Talking about data exclusions in a Google Ads campaign. The way you access this section inside Google Ads is by going to Tools and going to Adjustments and then going to Exclusions. So this is a section that is extremely helpful when you are either taking over a campaign that or taking over an account that had bad conversion tracking. That's most often the case that you should use data exclusions, is because you want to prevent Google from using data that it collected when your conversion tracking was bad. So, for example, you are tracking a click to call. And so a ton of people click on the button to call, but nobody actually calls through. And so that's not a good conversion for you, but Google thinks it got you 200 conversions. You can essentially exclude the duration of which you ran that bad conversion for without having to reset your search campaigns. That's one thing that sometimes you have to do, is that you made a change into a search campaign, a Performance Max campaign, and it didn't work. You were doing an A/B test, and then you try to switch it back, and it just never recovers, never gets back to the performance it was at before. One thing that people suggest is essentially pausing that campaign, creating an exact copy, pasting it, starting it up again. Another way to essentially allow a reset of Google without doing that, and being able to save all the other data from that campaign, because obviously that campaign doesn't just have that bad data. It may have a history of good performance, and you want to save 2 months of data, but get rid of, say, 10 days of bad performance. And so you can do that with data exclusions. The way you do it, just by clicking this blue plus button. You obviously want to name it why you're excluding it. As you saw, one of the ones we did, we had a ad schedule that did not work for us. Absolutely tanked our performance, because it was very important that we actually show after hours and during the weekends. And so what we did is we actually excluded the duration for which we ran that experiment, and it allowed Google to essentially forget its bad habits from that experiment and slowly improve the performance of the account. So essentially, you just just kind of describe why you're doing this data exclusion. You shouldn't do this just after your account dips a little bit or anything like that. You should only do this when you made either a mistake or a very clear drop in performance in your account. So something like 50+% would be worth doing a data exclusion, because that is a significant impact to your account. And essentially all you're going to do is choose the dates for which it ran. You can get even specific by the hour. And one thing to mention is that you can only do this for a 2-week span at max. So if you had a bad conversion tracking for 2 months, you may have to create four different data exclusions. Another thing to mention is that it doesn't just exclude it for the entire account. It can, but if you have a specific campaign that you had bad tracking on, maybe you did a campaign specific conversion tracking and it just did not work. The conversion data was bad. Maybe the conversion tracking in the backend was set up improperly. You can go in and actually name specific campaigns that you want to exclude for this duration. And another thing you can do is, if for all your Performance Max campaigns you made this error, or you made a change across all your Performance Max campaigns that you want Google to essentially forget about, you can just toggle off everything else and just go after Performance Max. Also, another thing to mention is that you can go specifically by device. If you made a change to the landing page on mobile and it was showing a 404 error on just all mobile phones, you can have it where it only excludes data from people who clicked on your ad using a mobile phone. So hope this video helps. I found it to be a great use in accounts, especially when I'm taking them over for the first time. So please reach out if you have any questions. I'll try to answer everything in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.